You're sitting at your favorite cafe. You tag the location, you post a quick selfie. It feels harmless, ordinary. But in that moment, someone now knows exactly where you are, where you're not, and what you're likely worth. We live in a time where sharing has become second nature. A quick update, a story, a photo. But hidden inside these everyday habits is a quiet danger. Not because you meant harm, but because you never questioned who was listening. It's not what others hide from you that's dangerous. It's what you reveal without even knowing the cost. This video uncovers 6 things you must never share if you value your safety, your peace of mind, and your freedom. These aren't cliches. They're traps hidden in plain sight. And secret number 3? It's something most people post without hesitation. A childhood pet's name, a throwback to your high school, a feel-good memory. It feels innocent until someone uses it to become you. The Stoics believe power lies not in what we display, but in what we protect. Today, that wisdom is more urgent than ever, so stay with me. This conversation might change the way you use your voice and how you guard your life. If this resonates already, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on Stoic strength, digital safety, and quiet resilience. Your silence can be power. Your privacy can be peace. Let's begin. 1. Location and travel schedule. You're excited. You've just arrived at a mountain cabin. The snow is perfect. Your phone signal is weak, but not too weak to post. So you do. A picture of the trail, a selfie in front of the fire, a caption that says no signal, no stress. You're proud of the moment. You want people to see it. And someone does. Someone who now knows you're not home. This is how it begins. Not with a burglary in the dead of night, not with a masked intruder, but with a post. A simple, innocent post. We've been taught that sharing experiences makes them more real. That, unless it's posted, it didn't happen. But that belief comes with a hidden cost. Sharing your location in real time isn't just a social behavior. It's an exposure of your movements, your routines, your absence. It says more than you think. It tells the wrong people when you're not protected. It outlines your habits, your patterns, your predictable moments. The world doesn't need your itinerary. And when you offer it freely, you're not building connection, you're handing out a schedule of vulnerability. A few winters ago, Maya, a 34-year-old photographer from Northern California, went on a weekend getaway to Lake Tahoe with her fiancé. It was spontaneous. She was excited. She wanted to capture everything. On the first night, she posted their arrival, the snowy road, the warm cabin lights, and the fireplace. She tagged the cabin's general area. She wasn't thinking about risk. She was thinking about memories. On day 2, she posted again, her laughing in the snow, a caption about unplugging, no signal, no worries. Back home, her small Sacramento apartment sat quiet, but someone was watching. Someone who had once been part of her life, a man she'd blocked years before after an uncomfortable encounter. He still followed her anonymously. He saw her trip unfold. He knew she was far from home. While she played in the snow, he broke into her apartment. No forced entry, no rush. He took his time. He didn't want her things. He wanted the feeling of access. He went through her drawers, moved things around, and left a note she never shared publicly. He wanted control. Maya's story is not unique, but it should be a warning. We assume that the dangers are far away, that those who wish to harm us wear masks and sneak in at night. In truth, many just wait. Wait for us to tell them where we are, and more importantly, where we are not. The mistake wasn't the joy, it was the timing. She wasn't wrong for celebrating her trip, but in doing it live, she offered real-time updates to people who had no business knowing. The danger isn't in having enemies, it's in assuming you don't. The moment you broadcast your absence, you lower your defenses. And the people who wish to harm you don't need to force a door, they only need to wait for it to open. So why do we post in the moment? It's not to document, it's to be seen, to be affirmed. It's a silent craving to feel important, present, noticed. But attention is not the same as safety. Visibility is not the same as connection. The Stoics warned us long ago, what matters most is not applause but awareness. They didn't live for the crowd, they lived for clarity. And in this hyper-connected world, clarity means learning when to speak and when to hold back. You don't have to stop sharing, but you do have to delay. Post your trip photos after you return. Share your favorite restaurant after you've left. Talk about your weekend plans with friends you trust. not with strangers online. Hold back just one detail each day, not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting. Because not everyone who sees your joy is rooting for it. Some feel entitled to it, and they don't care how they get it. The biggest mistake most people make is thinking, it won't happen to me. That's notice strength. That's hope disguised as confidence. Real strength is awareness. It's asking, why do I feel the need to show this right now? What am I proving, and to whom? When you begin to ask those questions, you begin to live from intention, not impulse. You begin to see what the Stoics meant by self-mastery. It's not about retreating from the world. It's about moving through it with discipline. People often confuse silence with absence. But silence can be the most powerful presence. A life that isn't constantly displayed is a life that's harder to target. And that today is a form of protection few recognize until it's too late. You don't need to fear to guide your decisions. You need clarity. You don't need to disappear. You need to become selective. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about being untrackable. You don't owe the world your every move. You owe yourself your peace. So here's a simple act. One quiet practice. Before posting, pause. Wait 10 minutes. Then ask yourself, does the world need to see this now, or can it wait? That small delay could be your strongest defense. And if done daily, it builds something stronger than attention. It builds discretion. And with discretion comes control. With control, peace. And with peace, power. The kind no one can steal, even when they're watching. To financial information. He stood in front of his new car, the kind he had worked nearly a decade to afford. Midnight blue. Fully paid. He smiled, took a photo, and wrote, "Finally, no more debt. This one's mine." The post got over 100 likes in an hour. Comments rolled in. "Well deserved, you earned it. Proud of you, bro." It felt good. It felt like an arrival. But that one moment of pride, that single snapshot of success, was the beginning of something he never expected. Within 2 weeks, Eric, 45, divorced father of 2, began to notice strange things. A car passed his house slowly, circling more than once. A man lingered across the street longer than made sense. One afternoon, he came home to find the front door slightly ajar. Nothing valuable was missing, but something deeper had been taken, the sense of safety. The quiet certainty that no one was watching. That feeling dissolved. Months later, at a casual work event, a colleague mentioned the bonus Eric had received, something he had never shared. That's when it all started to make sense. It wasn't just about the car he posted. It was the pattern, the new watch, the quiet celebration of a raise, the light-hearted joke about finally affording good wine. What felt like harmless moments added up, not into an image of success, but into a clear profile of someone worth targeting. Not because he was wealthy, but because he was visible and just vulnerable enough. We've been told that financial transparency is empowering, that success should be celebrated publicly. But what if that very openness is quietly costing us more than we realize? What if every time we share a financial win, we widen the target on our backs just a little more? The truth is, in today's world, financial information isn't just about numbers. It's about signals, a new home, a vacation, a casual mention of a big project landing. You're not just showing where you are in life, you're telling people what you have and what you might not yet be protecting. When Eric posted that photo, he didn't include his salary, his net worth, or even his address. But he didn't need to. The image of the car, the confident caption, the context, it was enough. To those who watch, enough is always enough. The danger doesn't always look like a thief in the night. Sometimes it's envy, quietly breeding in someone you thought harmless. Sometimes it's manipulation dressed up as friendship. And sometimes it's legal trouble, when the wrong person twists your public words into something that puts you at risk. Financial boasting, even subtle, doesn't always come from arrogance. Often, it's a plea for recognition, a desire to be seen, respected, and affirmed. But Stoicism teaches us something different. It teaches that real confidence is quiet. That achievement doesn't need an audience. The more you value your peace, the less you'll crave public approval. Pride, the Stoics believed, should be inward. And freedom, real freedom, comes from needing nothing external to validate you. Not applause, not envy, not visibility. So what can we do? You don't need to disappear or hide your life. You simply need to shift how you share. When asked about money, answer with restraint. I'm doing all right, I'm thankful. Say less. Celebrate privately. Share upward movement with those who protect your name, not those who scroll past your life without care. When you buy something valuable, delay the post. Maybe you'll share it later, maybe you won't. Either way, you'll know it was your choice, not your impulse. The common mistake many make is thinking their life isn't flashy enough to attract attention. I'm not rich, why would anyone care? But that's exactly the point. Criminals and manipulators don't go after billionaires. They go after those who are visible enough to seem attainable, but quiet enough not to have full protection. The average successful man is a more realistic target than the ultra-wealthy, and often easier. We confuse visibility with strength, but the strongest lives are built behind walls of discipline. Not isolation, but intention. Not fear, but foresight. That's the Stoic way. To live without apology, but also without exposure. To know the line between honesty and carelessness. To keep what matters sacred. When you overshare financial milestones, you think you're inspiring. And maybe you are, to some, but to others you're informing. And the people who want what you have won't ask for it. They'll watch, they'll wait, they'll calculate. So ask yourself, why am I posting this? Who benefits? What do I gain? And more importantly, what do I risk? Eric learned this the hard way. He didn't lose his car, he didn't get robbed, but he lost his sense of privacy, his trust, his ability to move through the world without wondering who was watching for the wrong reason. That's a loss harder to measure and much harder to repair. A man who owns without announcing is a man who cannot be measured. And if he cannot be measured, he cannot be targeted. Here's your practice. The next time you're about to post something that signals success, pause. Ask yourself, does this serve my peace or my ego? Does it protect my life or expose it? If even a small part of you hesitates, let it go. That pause is the beginning of a different kind of wealth, the kind that isn't visible but is deeply felt. Hold one detail back. Let your life speak through your presence, not your profile. Because what's sacred should never be advertised. What's real doesn't need proof. And what's truly yours doesn't need to be shown to be lived. 3. Identity clues. You're scrolling through your phone on a quiet evening. You come across a trending quiz. What was your first pet's name? What car did you learn to drive on? What city were you born in? You smile. It feels nostalgic. You post your answers in the comments without thinking twice. 10 minutes later, someone you don't know now has the same information your bank uses to reset your password. This is the kind of danger that never knocks. It doesn't break in, it waits. And it doesn't need force, it only needs fragments. Fragments that most people give away without hesitation. A woman in her late 30s shared a lighthearted post online, a memory about her childhood dog, her first car, and her school mascot. It was a trending thread. Dozens of people commented. It felt innocent, normal. But within weeks, her email began acting strangely. Password reset alerts appeared. Her shopping app flagged suspicious logins. Her bank sent her a temporary lock notice. She was confused. Then someone asked her what her security questions were. And slowly, it all clicked. She hadn't been hacked in the traditional sense. She had simply talked too much. Online and to the wrong audience. And all it took was 3 small memories to dismantle her digital identity. But a few weeks later, her phone buzzed with alerts. Her Amazon account had unusual activity. Her email requested a password reset she hadn't made. Her banking app was temporarily locked due to failed login attempts. She didn't understand how it happened until an IT friend asked her a simple question. What are your security questions? She answered, first pet's name, high school, first car. The realization hit her like ice in the chest. She had handed over the keys to her digital identity, one cheerful memory at a time. In the modern world, identity theft doesn't always come from hacking. It comes from collecting. It's slow, quiet, and patient. It watches, it gathers, and it acts only when enough of your life has been left lying out in the open. Most people think of their passwords as their protection, but what protects the passwords, what resets them? That's where the cracks form. We share these details not because we're careless, but because we're human. We want to connect. We want to reminisce. We want to be seen as relatable, friendly, even vulnerable. But the internet isn't a circle of trusted friends. It's a public forum. And in public, every detail has weight. Every post, every caption, Every joke has the potential to become something else in someone else's hands. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being precise, about knowing that the connection doesn't require exposure, about understanding that every piece of you revealed is a piece that can be used. And once it's out there, you don't control how it's interpreted or who receives it. Stoic philosophy teaches that clarity comes from restraint, not fear, just restraint. The ability to hold something back, to know it deeply without the need to display it. The Stoics believed that strength lived not in the open expression of everything, but in the discipline of what you choose to keep. You do not need to prove your past to anyone. You don't need to recount every detail of your life to earn a sense of identity. Your worth is not in the stories you post. It's in how you protect the life you've built. So what can you do? Start by reframing the way you share. The next time you're asked to post a fun fact, pause. Does this fact belong to you or to your security profile? If someone wanted to reset your account, would this answer help them? If so, don't share it. If it's already online, delete it. Audit your old posts. Remove personal identifiers. Obscure childhood details that may sound charming but could open digital doors. Use false answers to security questions. Answers only you would know. Store them safely. Don't reuse them, and stop assuming you're not a target. Many believe identity theft only happens to people with high net worth, big influence, or risky habits. But thieves don't chase fame, they chase opportunity. And opportunity is often wrapped in carelessness. If you have a bank account, you're a target. If you use email, you're a target. If you've ever shared your story, even in pieces, you've already left a trail. Most people don't realize the power of silence until it's gone. But the Stoics knew. They taught that the less predictable you are, the harder you are to control. That applies online too. The more generic your presence, the stronger your defenses. You don't have to be invisible, but you do need to be unreadable. There's a reason identity thieves succeed. It's not always because they're skilled. It's because we've made it easy. We've given them the map, and all they had to do was follow it. A mascot, a maiden name, a birth date in a caption, a memory too carelessly told. So ask yourself quietly and honestly, why do I share these details? What am I trying to feel? Recognition, nostalgia, a sense of being known, and can I find that feeling somewhere safer, somewhere less public? If you want to be seen, let it be in your character, not your credentials. If you want to share, let it be on your terms, not theirs. And if you want to live with strength, real, grounded, silent strength, then build your life in a way that doesn't need to be validated to exist. A life with fewer openings, fewer giveaways, and more space for control. One small action, one new habit. The next time a post asks about your past, pause, say nothing, smile to yourself, let it be yours alone. That silence might be the only wall between you and the person trying to become you. And that silence, if practiced enough, becomes your shield, quiet, unbreakable, and wise. 4. Personal and family weaknesses. You're at a gathering. The music's low, someone asks how you've been. You hesitate, then decide to open up. It's been a tough few months, you say. My health hasn't been great, and my dad's been in and out of the hospital. Heads no listen. Someone offers empathy. It feels honest, and maybe it is. But later that night, you post a photo with a caption that echoes what you just shared. You write it for comfort, maybe for release. But what you've just done is something far more serious. You've revealed a weakness. And in the wrong context, that kind of truth can become ammunition. Most people don't think twice before sharing stories of pain or struggle. We've been taught that vulnerability is strength, that sharing brings healing, and in the right place with the right people, it does. But the internet isn't the right place. Not always. Because the digital world doesn't filter for intention. It doesn't ask whether the person reading your words wants to support you or wants to use what you've said. There was a man, middle-aged, respected, soft-spoken, who shared his story after undergoing surgery. He posted updates, thanking people for their support. He shared how recovery was harder than expected, that some days he couldn't even stand without help. Most of his friends were encouraging, but not all of them were really friends. One night, while he was home recovering, someone entered his property. No forced entry, nothing stolen. But his home had clearly been searched. Small drawers open, personal papers moved, a sense of violation that went deeper than theft. that moment changed how he looked at everything. It wasn't about what he lost, it was about what had been taken from him without permission. Not his belongings, his stability. The more you talk about what's hard, the more some people see opportunity. They see your fatigue as an invitation, your sadness as a doorway, your isolation as a weakness they can step through. And often, these aren't strangers. They're people who already have a foot in your life. A neighbor, a distant relative, an ex who still watches. Not all harm looks like violence. Sometimes it looks like access. Sometimes it looks like silence that lingers too long after you've spoken. The real problem isn't that you told the truth. It's that you told it publicly, without protection. Not every truth belongs in the open. Not every story needs an audience. There's a kind of safety that lives in discretion. And Stoicism understood this long before the age of digital sharing. They taught that speech must be measured. That pain, when shared, must be shared with those suited to hear it. Otherwise, it becomes performance. And worse, it becomes a vulnerability without a boundary. So the question becomes, why do we post these stories? Is it to heal? Or to be seen? Is it to connect? Or to feel less alone, if only for a moment? Because if the motive is loneliness, the solution must be safer than exposure. You don't solve being unseen by telling everyone. You solve it by telling someone you trust. Quietly, directly, in private. What makes this kind of oversharing so dangerous is how normalized it has become. We scroll past posts about chronic illness, about parents with dementia, about depression and fear and anger every hour of the day. We've stopped seeing these things as sensitive. They're just content now. But your pain should never be content. Your family's struggle is not a storyline. It's real, it's sacred, and it deserves protection. A man who shares that his wife is away on business for a week has told the world he's alone. A woman who posts about her child's struggles in school may think she's building awareness, but she's also giving strangers a profile of the child's emotional patterns. None of this is malicious, but it is careless. And in a world that rewards visibility, carelessness becomes currency for those who know how to exploit it. The Stoic path is not about silence for its own sake. It's about the wisdom to know what silence preserves. When you choose not to speak, you're not withholding love, you're preserving strength. You're creating a buffer, a margin of safety, an emotional wall, not to keep everyone out, but to allow only the right ones in. You don't need to fake strength. You just need to know that real strength often grows in the quiet. In the spaces between posts, in the moments when you choose to reflect, not perform. So what can you do instead? Speak, but not everywhere. Share, but not with everyone. When something heavy weighs on your chest, pick up the phone and call someone who has earned your trust. Keep a journal. Let the page carry what the public shouldn't. And most importantly, stop feeling guilty for keeping parts of your life to yourself. That's not selfish, that's wise. If you're going through something, illness, grief, emotional burnout, ask yourself before you post, what will this give me? And what might it take from me? If your answer is peace, pause. If your answer is clarity, write it, but maybe don't post it. If your answer is that you just want to be seen, remember, there are safer ways to be seen. In a world obsessed with authenticity, the most authentic thing you can do may be to protect your soul from being scanned like a headline. Every day, hold one truth back. Not forever, just until you know it's safe. Let your silence become space for healing. Not a prison for pain. Let it be a place of clarity, not confusion. Let it be your strength, not your shield. Because once you learn the value of a kept truth, you stop wasting yourself on those who only listen with the intention to use. And if you do that, one quiet truth at a time, you'll begin to rebuild the kind of life no one can steal. Because no one will fully see it. And that, in the end, may be your greatest safety. 5. Home security details. You just installed a new alarm system. It was expensive, but it gives you peace of mind. You take a quick photo of the keypad, the sleek interface, maybe the little camera at the front door. You post it with pride. Finally got this set up. Let them try now. The post gets reactions. People comment with fire emojis and smart move. You feel safer. But what you've really done is something few realize in that moment. You've handed out the blueprint to your last line of defense. This is something most people post without hesitation. A story about upgrading locks, A comment about not having security because there's nothing to steal. A casual discussion in a group thread about what you recommend. It feels harmless, even smart, but in reality, you're broadcasting the very thing that should stay invisible. There was a man, quiet, practical, family-oriented. He had moved into a new home, proud of what he had built from scratch. As part of a renovation, he installed a top-tier safe, biometric, fireproof. He shared it in a home improvement group. Not the full model, just the brand and a lighthearted comment about where he had hidden it, tucked in the closet like a Bond movie. It was meant to be funny. Weeks later, while he was out of town, his home was entered. No windows broken, no mess, just the safe is gone. Nothing else touched, no TV missing. No drawers were emptied. Whoever came in knew exactly what they were looking for. This wasn't a random burglary. It was calculated, strategic, and it didn't require surveillance. It just required someone to read what he willingly gave. We underestimate how closely people pay attention. We assume interest is admiration, but sometimes it's inventory. People listen, not to celebrate you, but to gather, to assess, to plan. And when you speak freely about how your home is secured, or worse, that it isn't, you shift the balance of power. You stop being unpredictable. You start being accessible. There's a strange pride that comes with talking about protection. It feels like control. It feels like strength. But Stoicism challenges that impulse. It asks, what is truly strong? Is it the wall you describe? Or the one no one knows exists? Is it the defense you brag about? Or the one no one can anticipate? Security is strongest in silence. The less people know, the harder it is to find the cracks. The less you show, the more they doubt their own assumptions. Visibility may feel powerful, but in reality, it often signals vulnerability. Not because you're weak, but because you've shown your hand. So why do people share this information? Sometimes it's to teach, sometimes it's pride, but often it's loneliness in disguise. We talk about our homes, our systems, our tools, not just for validation, but to feel heard. To feel like what we've done matters, that the safety we've built counts. But what if the real strength was never in the comment section? What if it was in the quiet confidence of knowing and never needing to prove? Stoicism teaches us to fortify the inner walls before we talk about the outer ones. It reminds us that not every truth deserves a witness, that not every detail needs applause, and that self-respect often begins where disclosure ends. So what can you do now? If you've already shared something, delete it. If someone asks about your home system, respond vaguely. I'm covered is enough. If you're part of a group chat or forum, share lessons, not layouts. Keep specifics off the table. Be honest without being detailed. Be strong without being transparent. This isn't about paranoia. It's about posture. The posture of someone who understands that strength is not loud, that protection is not a performance. The man who no longer talks about his safe is not hiding. He's guarding. He's reclaiming his advantage. A common mistake many make is assuming they're not worth targeting. I live in a quiet neighborhood. I don't have much. But the truth is, most calculated break-ins don't happen in chaotic places. They happen where the payoff seems possible, and the resistance minimal. And the best way to appear minimal? Say too much. The difference between a man who is left alone and one who is approached often comes down to mystery. The unknown is a deterrent. The known is an opening. A Stoic understands this. He doesn't live in fear, but in awareness. He doesn't hide because he's weak. He stays quiet because he knows his life isn't a public exhibit. You don't need to be invisible. You just need to be unreadable, not predictable, not exposed, not easy. So the next time you feel like sharing how you've secured your space, pause. Ask, is this for education or for ego? Am I protecting myself or performing strength? That pause may feel small, but it plants something deep, something still, a new habit, a quiet one. And over time, that habit becomes a way of life, a pattern that no one can trace, a rhythm that only you know. And from that rhythm comes peace, not because the world is safe, but because your inner world is guarded. Start today. Say one detail less. Speak one truth only to yourself. Post one fewer image of your world. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Let them think you're just another man with nothing to steal. Because that's when you're truly safest. Not when they see your locks, but when they're not sure you have a door at all. 6. Relationship conflicts and private disagreements. You're upset, Maybe it was something your partner said. Maybe a family member crossed a line. You don't want to yell, so instead you type a vague post, a quote about respect, a story slide with just enough context that everyone who knows you knows exactly who you mean. Comments come in, supportive emojis, indirect sympathy. You feel better. You've spoken your truth without naming names. But what you've really done is expose a wound that wasn't ready to be seen. And worse, invited strangers to step into something they don't understand. It's something most people post without hesitation. Frustration, hurt, passive shots disguised as wisdom. But when you share private tensions publicly, even in coded language, you do more than vent. You document the fracture. You weaponize silence. You expose the soft underbelly of your closest relationships to people who have no business being that close. The moment you do, the damage multiplies. Because once you say it out loud, even vaguely, it shapes how others see the people you live with, rely on, or love. And sometimes you can't unring that bell. There was a woman, someone kind, trusted by many, who went through a rough patch in her marriage. Her husband had made a mistake, not betrayal, just a judgment. Instead of confronting it privately, she posted a cryptic message about loyalty and how some people never really grow up. Her friends knew exactly who she meant. Some took her side, others whispered. A few months later, they worked things out, but the damage was done. Her community no longer saw him the same way. She had moved on, but they hadn't. Not every betrayal needs a spotlight. Not every tension should be narrated in real time. Because not every audience is there to understand. Some are there to enjoy the drama, others are there to wait for you to crack. The Stoics believed in clarity over catharsis, that not everything true should be spoken. Emotions, especially strong ones, require containment before communication. Not silence from fear, but silence from strength. Because real strength is not reactive. It doesn't do any harm to the crowd. It processes it privately and speaks only when the noise has cleared. So why do we share these emotional fragments? Often, we're looking for control, for validation, for proof that we're not crazy, that we're right, that we're not alone. But digital comfort is temporary and often more costly than we think. When you reach out to strangers to help you hold something intimate, you stretch it too far. You invite energy in that doesn't care about healing, only about feeding. The moment you broadcast a fight, you shift its shape. It's no longer something to resolve. It becomes something to win. And that craving to win makes the conflict louder, messier, and harder to mend. Because now it's not just about what happened, it's about what everyone else now knows. Privacy is peace, not the fake kind where you suffer in silence, but the kind where you protect what matters long enough to work through it with the person who needs to hear it, not the crowd who doesn't. When something cracks in your relationship, the answer is not to widen the break by letting others look in. It's to build a space safe enough to hold the heat without it leaking out. Practical restraint is powerful. It's saying nothing when every part of you wants to scream. It's calling someone you trust directly instead of throwing digital grenades. It's writing your anger down in a journal, then waiting 24 hours before deciding if it still needs to be said. Most of the time, it doesn't. Because what you really needed wasn't attention. It was time. The Stoic path invites us to master not just what we say, but why we feel the urge to say it at all. That pause between pain and reaction is where character is built. And it's in that space that the strongest people live. People often think that silence is weak, that if you don't speak, you'll be walked over. Not posting your pain means you're pretending it doesn't exist. But that's a misunderstanding of strength. Strength doesn't need applause. It doesn't need to win the room. It needs to hold the line, quietly, consistently, and with dignity. The mistake most people make is confusing public affirmation with healing. But real healing often begins when the noise ends. When you take the story offline. When you speak directly, not publicly. When you remember that every person you involve in your personal pain adds one more opinion, one more judgment, one more barrier to resolution. So here's something to practice. The next time you're about to share something about your relationship, pause. Ask yourself who truly needs to hear it. Who will help? Who will be harmed? And if the answer is no one right now, then speak only to yourself or to a private space that won't echo louder than it should. Start keeping one piece of pain sacred, not hidden, just held. Because the longer you can sit with it, the more power you have over it, and the more likely you are to say what actually needs to be said to the one who needs to hear it, not everyone else. In a world where everything personal becomes public, choosing to protect your pain is an act of resistance. A decision to value depth over display, stillness over noise, strength over spectacle. So hold the line. One word less, one post unsent, one feeling felt fully but not performed. In that silence, something unshakable is built. Something people can't twist, can't screenshot, can't share. And that something is yours alone. Not because you're afraid to speak, but because you're strong enough not to need to. The most dangerous truths are not the ones others keep from you, but the ones you reveal too easily. In today's world, silence is more than wisdom. It's protection. We've walked through 5 things that seem ordinary to share. Your location, your success, your memories, your struggles, and even your home defenses. These details feel small, but shared without care, they create a map, one that leads others directly into your life. You don't need to erase yourself, but you do need to draw stronger boundaries around what you reveal. This isn't about fear. It's about intention. The Stoic path is not to shut the world out. It's to walk through it with clarity. When you speak less, you listen more. When you hold back, you see deeper. And when you protect your private world, you strengthen your inner one. Let this be a daily practice. One post you don't make, one detail you keep to yourself, one truth you share only with someone who's earned it. Over time, this discipline becomes instinct. This quiet becomes your armor. You owe no one access to your every move. You owe yourself peace. Practice discretion, not as a strategy, but as a way of being. Not to disappear, but to stay rooted. And if any part of this resonated with your own story, share it below. Your experience may help someone else realize how exposed they've become without knowing it. Your story may be the reminder they didn't know they needed. Every quiet choice you make to protect your energy, your safety, your life, it counts. Start small, stay consistent. That's how you build a mindset rooted in strength, clarity, and control. And in the end, that's what Stoicism teaches us best. Not how to be loud, but how to be unshakably solid, even in silence.